Colossal ships once challenged the ocean itself. Some vanished, some shattered records, and everyone carried untold stories. These giants weren't just vessels, they were battles of ambition you'll want to follow to the final reveal. At number 15, we have the mighty Krusenstern cutting through the dark like a steel phantom built to outlive empires. Born in Germany and later taken by the Soviet Union, she earned her legend on oceans that punished hesitation. Unveiled in 1926, her 375-foot hull carried 43,056 square feet of sail that drove her toward 18 miles per hour. Despite weighing more than 3,117 tons, her roughly $400,000 cost produced a vessel meant for endurance far beyond typical training ships. If every engine failed tonight, imagine her gliding across borders with no electronic trace to follow. Would a silent giant like this still outmaneuver 21st-century surveillance? She survived storms that rewrote naval instruction and decades of political turmoil without losing purpose. Sailors hardened under her unforgiving conditions and nations studied her movements to understand long-range operations without fuel. Each voyage reinforced her reputation as a vessel shaped by raw ocean force rather than machinery. She mattered because she delivered connectivity when global instability threatened it. Her survival carved her legend deeper than steel itself, and she remains proof that wind and willpower can defy time. But the next vessel brings even more danger carried in every mile she crossed. Coming in at number 14 is the Pamir, slicing through violent seas with the precision of a blade honed for survival. Built in Germany, she rose to fame on routes where storms regularly erased entire fleets. Launched in 1905, her 375-foot steel frame held 40,900 square feet of sail that pushed her toward 20 miles per hour as more than 3,020 tons battled the ocean's weight. Her $250,000 construction masked the extreme risks faced by crews confronting Cape Horn. If fuel vanished today, imagine her slipping silently through a blockade too quiet to intercept. Could a vessel powered only by wind still alter modern strategy? She outran storms that tore apart sturdier hulls and stunned commanders, with her balance in waters expected to destroy her. Her grain routes supported economies counting on her reliability, and historians still examine her most dangerous crossings. Rival engineers tracked her voyages to refine their own maritime designs. She mattered because she delivered critical cargo that shaped national stability, and each survival strengthened her status as a maritime icon. Her endurance marked the final era of grand windjammers, but the next vessel didn't just endure the sea, she dominated it with overwhelming force. Standing at number 13 is the Passat, emerging like an iron spear meant to turn the ocean into her battlefield. Built in Germany, she represented a breakthrough in industrial-era design when she launched in 1911. Her 377-foot structure carried 49,514 square feet of sail that pulled her toward 18 miles per hour, while her weight of 3,091 tons gave her relentless stability in storm conditions. Her $300,000 cost reflected her intended role as a high-performance carrier rather than a standard freighter. If fuel disappeared tonight, imagine her challenging modern wind-assisted fleets with nothing but precision and steel. Would nations reconsider relying on vessels shaped with this level of engineering discipline? Her agility shocked crews who expected sluggish movement from a ship her size, and she mastered storm routes that humbled rivals. Her membership in the Flying P fleet set global standards for steel sailing excellence, and she carried heavy cargo without forfeiting momentum. Each voyage expanded her influence as a symbol of reliability and strength. She mattered because she embodied the perfected evolution of commercial sail, and her endurance shaped maritime training long after engines took over. She stands as a monument to the peak of wind power design. But the next vessel pushed endurance into territory no architect believed achievable. Arriving at number 12, we meet the Lohhill, rising from the haze like a warning carved into the horizon. Built in Finland, she sailed into oceans that reduced weaker ships to drifting ruins. Launched in 1892, her 382-foot frame carried 43,060 square feet of sail that drove her toward 16 miles per hour. As her weight of 2,942 tons crushed through merciless waves, her $150,000 construction cost understated her decades of operational importance. Now everything gets more dangerous. Imagine her slipping past a modern blockade with no fuel trail and no electronic signature. Could endurance alone bypass today's detection networks? She outlasted political shifts, multiple owners, and storms that obliterated stronger vessels. Analysts studying long-term durability still reference her record as an outlier in maritime endurance. Her cargo missions supported regions reliant on dependable deliveries during unstable periods, and her strength under pressure earned profound respect among crews. She mattered because she proved resilience can be a strategic weapon, and she became a blueprint for survival-oriented shipbuilding. Her relevance persisted long after similar giants disappeared. She remains proof that raw strength and patience can outlive technology. But the next vessel transformed ambition into something oceans had never seen. Taking the number 11 position is the Moshulu, rising like a steel fortress, reclaiming the age of wind. Built in Scotland before becoming an American maritime icon, she brought unmatched authority to the final chapter of commercial sail. Launched in 1904, her 396-foot hull carried 45,208 square feet of canvas that converted violent storms into thrust, pushing her towards 17 miles per hour, even at 3,768 tons. Her roughly $250,000 construction investment placed her among the elite vessels of her era. If fuel vanished tonight, imagine her cutting across oceans with the certainty of a queen returning to her throne. Could she outperform modern wind-enhanced designs built a century after her? Her decisive victory in the last great grain race forced rival nations to rethink their shipbuilding priorities. Crews trusted her stability when walls of water slammed against her bow with crushing force, and every voyage revealed precision fused with power. She mattered because she embodied the pinnacle of commercial sail before engines seized dominance, and her endurance shaped naval logistics theory for decades. Nations admired her as a floating symbol of prestige and maritime pride. Her survival through catastrophic seas forged her legend. She closed the age of sail with unmatched authority. But the next vessel stretches ambition into realms once considered impossible. At number 10, we have the Great Republic, appearing like a titan forged to outrun every rival on the ocean. Built in the United States, she shocked the world with her immense scale and ambition when she launched in 1853. Her 400-foot wooden frame carried 56,000 square feet of sail that hurled her toward 23 miles per hour. Despite weighing 4,555 tons, her construction cost of roughly $350,000 made her one of the most expensive American vessels of her era. If global engines failed tonight, imagine her racing across trade routes like a resurrected champion. Could anything of her size keep up under pure wind? She dominated shipping lanes with speed that seemed impossible for a ship of her mass, and storms that slowed rivals only fueled her momentum. Her performance reshaped expectations of wooden clipper capabilities, and shipbuilders worldwide scrambled to match her breakthroughs. She mattered because she turned American maritime engineering into a symbol of national pride and economic reach. Her voyages pushed the limits of long-distance trade and revealed what extreme sail power could truly accomplish. She stands as a monument to ambition that redefined transoceanic competition. But the next vessel stretched steel, strategy, and endurance even further. Taking the number 9 position is the Copenhagen, arriving like a floating fortress engineered for global dominance. Built in Denmark, she became the pride of Danish maritime achievement when she launched in 1921. Her 433-foot hull carried 49,992 square feet of sail, driving her towards 17 miles per hour, while her weight of 3,965 tons carved through rough seas with steadfast control. Her construction cost of about $350,000 reflected her role as a prestigious training and cargo vessel. If fuel vanished tonight, imagine her navigating oceans as a silent leviathan impossible to track. Would her discipline-oriented design outperform modern academies? She trained generations of sailors who learned precision navigation under brutal conditions, and her performance impressed naval observers across continents. Her disappearance at sea only magnified her myth, transforming her from vessel to legend. She mattered because she showcased the height of early 20th century naval craftsmanship and represented national pride for Denmark. Her voyages set benchmarks for long-distance capability and operational resilience. She remains a mystery wrapped in maritime excellence. But the next vessel elevated scale and ingenuity to an even more intimidating level. Coming in at number 8 is France, one emerging like a steel monarch shaped to command oceans with elegance and force. Built in France, she launched in 1890 as one of the country's most ambitious sailing giants. Her 435-foot frame supported 48,437 square feet of sail that carried her towards 16 miles per hour, while her weight of 3,784 tons delivered remarkable durability on long routes. Her estimated $200,000 construction cost reflected France's pursuit of prestige on global waters. If engines failed tonight, imagine her gliding across international shipping lanes as the quiet ruler of long-endurance routes. Could her sailing efficiency still rival modern eco-vessels? She impressed captains with her steadiness under shifting winds and harsh seas, and her reliability strengthened France's commercial footprint during competitive maritime eras. Her voyages represented national ambition and technological pride as countries fought for influence through naval engineering. She mattered because she blended size, strength, and precision at a level few rivals matched. Her presence expanded France's prestige across continents. But the next vessel carried even more canvas and even greater expectations into treacherous waters. At number 7 stands the formidable Potosi, entering the list like a storm given steel form. Built in Germany for the famed Flying P fleet, she launched in 1895 as one of the most advanced windjammers ever conceived. Her 436-foot hull held 56,511 square feet of sail that powered her towards 17 miles per hour, as her weight of 4,027 tons crushed through violent weather with relentless force. Her roughly $220,000 construction cost positioned her among the elite vessels of her era. From here on, every vessel changes the scale of history. If fuel vanished tonight, imagine her crossing oceans faster than modern cargo ships, dependent on fuel limits. Would wind alone reclaim supremacy? She delivered nitrate cargoes with legendary consistency, and captains praised her ability to maintain speed even under catastrophic storms. Her performance forced competitors to rethink the relationship between sail area and hull strength. She mattered because she embodied German engineering precision during the height of commercial sail competition. Her voyages expanded maritime science and set new standards for long-haul wind power. She stands as proof that pure design can rival brute mechanical force. But the next vessel stretched sail technology even further. Landing at number 6 is the Maria Rickmers, a steel giant emerging like a silent juggernaut built to dominate unforgiving trade routes. Constructed in Germany, she launched in 1891 as one of the largest and most capable merchant windjammers ever built. Her 443-foot hull carried 51,667 square feet of sail, pushing her towards 16 miles per hour, while her weight of 3,822 tons kept her unshaken in brutal storms. Her estimated $180,000 cost made her an engineering investment meant to prove industrial superiority. If engines collapse worldwide tonight, imagine her reclaiming global routes with slow, unstoppable certainty. Could any modern wind-assisted vessel match her efficiency across extreme distances? She delivered cargo with a consistency that astonished maritime economists, and her stamina under pressure strengthened Germany's commercial influence. Her ability to maintain structural integrity on punishing voyages set her apart from nearly every contemporary giant. She mattered because she represented the global reach of late 19th century shipbuilding and proved wind-powered logistics could support nations even under economic strain. Her endurance reshaped expectations for steel sailing vessels. But what comes next pushes ambition into the upper extremes of maritime innovation. At number 5 we have the Wyoming, rising like an impossible vision of wood pushed far beyond its limits. Built in the United States, she launched in 1909 as the largest wooden sailing ship ever constructed. Her 450-foot length supported 39,827 square feet of sail that propelled her toward 18 miles per hour, while her weight of 3,731 tons strained against the ocean with every voyage. Her roughly $175,000 construction cost reflected America's determination to challenge steel with timber one last time. If engines vanished tonight, imagine her massive frame cutting through fog like a prehistoric predator. Could any wooden vessel today rival her reach and stamina? She delivered cargo across immense distances, but her size made her hull flex dangerously in heavy seas. That structural vulnerability became legend, teaching maritime engineers the limits of wooden expansion. She mattered because she represented the final evolutionary step of wooden shipbuilding and demonstrated how ambition can both elevate and end an era. Her voyages were feats of daring strength against the physics that resisted her very existence. She stands as the towering finale of the wooden age. But the next vessel pushed scale so far that she reshaped the meaning of extreme design. Coming in at number 4 is the Thomas W. Lawson, sweeping onto the list like a dark omen of industrial ambition. Built in the United States, she launched in 1902 as the only 7-masted steel schooner ever created. Her 475-foot body carried 43,056 square feet of sail, but reached only about 12 miles per hour, due to her enormous mass of 5,218 tons. Her roughly $250,000 construction cost marked her as a bold experiment in maximizing cargo capacity without abandoning wind power. From here on, the vessels become far more dangerous. If engines disappeared tonight, imagine her drifting like a silent fortress across contested waters. Would her colossal presence intimidate modern fleets? Her design shocked global shipbuilders, blending unprecedented mast count with steel hull construction. Yet her greatest moment came in tragedy when she was destroyed in a violent storm, reminding the world that even the strongest visions have limits. She mattered because she pushed naval architecture into uncharted territory, and influenced future debates on balancing size with stability. Her legacy remains a warning carved into maritime engineering history. But the next vessel lifted both strength and refinement to another level entirely. Standing at number 3 is the R.C. Rickmers, appearing like a steel cathedral built to conquer oceans. Constructed in Germany, she launched in 1906 as one of the most advanced windjammers ever produced. Her 479-foot hull supported 54,088 square feet of sail that carried her towards 17 miles per hour, while her massive weight of 5,548 tons carved authority into every wave she struck. Her estimated $280,000 cost demonstrated Germany's determination to dominate global shipping through precision engineering. From here on, every vessel carries consequences that shaped maritime strategy. If engines failed worldwide tonight, imagine her reclaiming international routes with unstoppable momentum. Could any modern cargo ship match her endurance under pure wind power? She transported heavy cargo across crushing distances, while maintaining stability that surprised even experienced captains. Her voyages strengthened Germany's commercial reach during a fiercely competitive era. She mattered because she represented the peak of early 20th century steel sailing design and influenced how nations viewed long-range maritime logistics. Her presence commanded respect in every port, but the next vessel surpassed her scale and shattered expectations across the world. At number 2 stands the towering France 2, emerging like a floating empire built for global dominance. Constructed in France, she launched in 1913 and immediately became one of the largest sailing ships ever engineered. Her 481-foot frame bore 68,350 square feet of sail, driving her toward 20 miles per hour, while her massive 5,633-ton weight moved with astonishing grace. Her estimated $400,000 cost reflected France's ambition to claim maritime supremacy in the last golden age of sail. If engines vanished tonight, imagine her gliding across the Atlantic like a silent sovereign. Would any modern prototype match her balance of capacity and speed? She carried nickel ore on routes that tested even the most reliable ships, and her performance impressed engineers across continents. Her grounding and loss in New Caledonia only magnified her legacy as a masterpiece that nature reluctantly defeated. She mattered because she showcased the pinnacle of French naval design and proved that wind-powered giants could rival industrial vessels in both efficiency and reach. Her legend stands enormous, but the next vessel remains the unmatched monarch of all sailing giants. Taking the top position at number 1 is the Preußen, entering the list like a storm given perfect engineering form. Built in Germany, she launched in 1902 as the only 5-masted full-rigged steel ship ever constructed, instantly rewriting the boundaries of naval architecture. Her 482-foot body wielded 59,818 square feet of sail that hurled her toward 23 miles per hour, while her 5,081-ton frame sliced through oceans with military precision. Her roughly $300,000 construction cost created a vessel so advanced that even steam-powered rivals respected her dominance. If engines disappeared tonight, imagine her leading convoys across global trade routes with unmatched discipline. Could any sailing vessel in history outrun or outmaneuver her? She transported nitrate cargo with speed that stunned both competitors and engineers, and her handling was so refined that captains claimed she moved like an extension of their own will. She mattered because she became the absolute peak of human mastery over wind power, representing the fusion of German precision, maritime ambition, and engineering brilliance. Her influence shaped discussions on efficiency, logistics, and naval strategy for decades. She stands unmatched as the supreme monarch of all sailing vessels ever built. These towering sailing giants prove that human ambition can bend oceans, rewrite engineering limits, and define entire eras of maritime power. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. And don't miss our next adventure. Watch Top 12 Biggest Seaplanes in the World using the link above or in the description.